The WTA is in full-blown meltdown mode. For years, they've hidden behind a mask of empowerment and the year of the player's voice. But in 2026, the mask has finally slipped. The reality is that the WTA executives have built a legal prison for their own stars. They are panicking because their secret weapon has been exposed. This isn't just a minor disagreement about scheduling or prize money. This is a calculated, systemic attempt to gag every honest player on the tour. The documents prove that the WTA is now operating as a dictatorship. They have installed a speech choke collar designed to crush anyone who dares to speak the truth. And right at the center of this battle is Elena Rybakina. She is the hero who refused to be silenced, and her bravery is currently tearing the entire organization apart. The WTA leadership thought they could control the narrative, but they are losing the war. Their downfall has officially begun. On paper, the WTA calls 2026 the year of authenticity. The WTA is in full-blown meltdown mode. For years, they've hidden behind a mask of empowerment and the year of the player's voice. But in 2026, the mask has finally slipped. The reality is that the WTA executives have built a legal prison for their own stars. They are panicking because their secret weapon has been exposed. This isn't just a minor disagreement about scheduling or prize money. This is a calculated, systemic attempt to gag every honest player on the tour. The documents prove that the WTA is now operating as a dictatorship. They have installed a speech choke collar designed to crush anyone who dares to speak the truth. And right at the center of this battle is Elena Rybakina. She is the hero who refused to be silenced, and her bravery is currently tearing the entire organization apart. The WTA leadership thought they could control the narrative, but they are losing the war. Their downfall has officially begun. On paper, the WTA calls 2026 the year of authenticity. Their marketing slogans talk about letting top stars speak their truth. But buried deep inside the 2026 WTA Rulebook is a very different message. It's written in cold, legal language that most fans were never supposed to see. That message is simple: speak against us and we will make you pay. The tool is a pair of clauses tucked into the player code of conduct under the polite names moral abuse and disrepute. In reality, they function as a weapon. They are being used to quietly gag some of the most honest voices on tour. To understand why this is a scandal, you have to look at what happened to Elena Rybakina. In early 2026, she stepped onto the court at a WTA 500 event. The surface was a disaster. It was worn, wind-blasted, and covered in dead patches. It wasn't just a bad court, it was a trap. Rybakina watched as ball after ball died in a hole near the service line. She knew someone was going to get seriously hurt. She did what any brave truth teller would do. She looked at the chair umpire and said the court was a joke. She said someone was going to get injured. These were facts, not insults. But the WTA didn't care about the facts. They cared about the image. Within 24 hours, the WTA executives launched an attack. They cited her for bringing the game into moral disrepute. Think about that for a second. Calling a dangerous court dangerous is now considered moral abuse by the WTA. The reality is that they don't want the public to know their facilities are failing. They want a polished, fake product for their sponsors. When Rybakina spoke up, she wasn't just criticizing a court, she was attacking the WTA's bottom line. That is why they came down on her so hard. They didn't fix the court. Instead, they edited the broadcast highlights to remove her complaints. They tried to rewrite history in real time, but the documents prove what really happened. The 2026 Rulebook is the smoking gun. The moral abuse section is intentionally broad so the WTA can use it whenever they want. It says players must refrain from any behavior that could be deemed moral abuse of the sport or its commercial partners. But who decides what moral abuse means? The WTA executives do. They have given themselves total power. There is no fixed list of what you can and can't say. There is no clear line. If the WTA thinks a comment might harm their reputation, they can fine you or suspend you. It's a discretionary muzzle. Even worse, the rulebook specifies that the commissioner's decision is final. There is no independent appeal. If you call out a corrupt system, the leaders of that system are the ones who judge you. It's a closed loop of control designed to protect the villain at all costs. This is a massive shift from the rules we see in the ITF. The ITF Code of Conduct actually allows for good faith criticism. If an ITF player says a court is dangerous, they are protected as long as they aren't being personally abusive. The ITF recognizes that players have a right to care about their own safety, but the WTA has erased that protection in 2026. By merging court criticism into disrepute, they treat a player warning about safety the same way they treat a criminal act. It's a legal trap. The evolution of these rules tells the real story. In the past, the rulebook was about stopping slurs and threats, but after players like Rybakina and Sabalenka started calling out the insane scheduling and poor lighting between 2023 and 2025, the WTA executives got scared. They didn't want to fix the problems, they wanted to fix the people talking about the problems. In late 2025, the board quietly approved a rulebook update. They expanded moral abuse to include public criticism of institutional decisions. This was a direct response to the player-led movement for better conditions. Instead of listening to their heroes, the WTA chose to silence them. They added a disrepute clause that covers every social media post and every interview. They are tracking what players say on digital platforms to ensure no one breaks the wall of silence. The timing is not an accident. The WTA is currently desperate for commercial growth. They have signed massive deals with groups like CVC Capital Partners. These investors don't want to hear about slippery courts or late-night matches. They want a perfect, marketable show. The WTA executives are acting like corporate henchmen. They are selling out the safety of the players to keep the sponsors happy. Rybakina is the ultimate target because she refuses to play the media-safe script. She doesn't use the PR-approved talking points. When she calls the scheduling insane, she is exposing a lack of testing and care. These are the institutional decisions the WTA wants to protect. Under the 2026 framework, every honest word Rybakina speaks is a disciplinary landmine. The WTA's notice to her didn't even try to argue that the court was safe. They couldn't because the evidence was right there on the grass. Instead, they accused her of undermining public confidence. They literally told her that her truth was damaging the product. That is the definition of a manipulative villain. They know they're wrong, but they punish the hero for being right. This disrepute clause is really a sponsor protection clause. It's about money, plain and simple. The wording deliberately lumps the WTA, the tournaments, and the commercial partners into one untouchable group. If you complain about a poorly run event, you are casting a shadow over the sponsors. And in the 2026 WTA, that is the ultimate sin. This creates a chilling effect across the entire tour. Younger players are now terrified to speak up. They see what happened to a champion like Rybakina, and they realize they have no chance. The safest career move is to stay silent, even when you are playing in dangerous conditions. The WTA is training its athletes to be silent props in a commercial. It's a disgusting abuse of power that is ruining the integrity of the sport. The WTA will try to lie to the public. They will claim these rules are about professionalism and preventing abuse. They will point to extreme cases to justify their power, but don't believe them. The reality is that they have erased the boundary between legitimate safety concerns and actual abuse. They have given themselves full discretion to treat both as equal threats. The rule doesn't require proof of harm. It doesn't require the statement to be false. It only requires the WTA to feel like it's damaging. That isn't a code of conduct. It's a weapon, and we are seeing it being used selectively. The executives use these rules to target the outspoken players while giving a pass to those who stay in line. It's political, it's petty, and it's corrupt. The industry is already starting to distance themselves from this failing leadership. We are seeing a major gap between how the WTA operates and how the rest of the sporting world works. Most professional leagues understand that player-led change is healthy. Public pressure on things like pay gaps and scheduling is what makes sports better. But the WTA executives have decided they are above criticism. They are trying to stop the mechanism of progress. If a player can't tweet about a 3 a.m. match without being fined for disrepute, then the 3 a.m. matches will never stop. The WTA is choosing to ignore the warning signs of player burnout and injury just to save face. It's a recipe for disaster. We have seen this playbook before. Manipulative leaders always try to control the flow of information when they know their system is failing. They use vague language and secret fines to keep everyone in fear. But Elena Rybakina has shown that the truth cannot be totally suppressed. Even when they cut her comments from the highlight reels, the fans still heard her. Even when they send her legal notices, the players still know she's right. The WTA thought they could use these 2026 clauses to create a perfect silent tour. Instead, they have created a rebellion. The reality is that the most honest voices are the ones the sport needs the most. A tour that punishes a player for saying a court is unsafe is a tour that has lost its soul. The commercial consequences of this are going to be massive. Sponsors don't actually want to be associated with a tour that silences women for talking about their health. The WTA's empowerment brand is now a total lie. It's a fraud being sold to the highest bidder. When the public realizes that these moral abuse charges are being used to cover up safety failures, the sponsors will run for the hills. The WTA executives are destroying their own product in an attempt to protect it. They are so focused on the short-term image that they are blind to the long-term collapse. Their reputation is in a freefall, and no amount of edited highlights can save them now. What Rybakina is going through is a warning to every athlete in the world. When your governing body starts redefining honesty as abuse, you are in trouble. The WTA is trying to train its players to accept pain as part of the entertainment. They want you to watch the tennis, but they don't want you to hear the truth behind it. They want the glamour without the accountability. But the rulebook is public now. The secret is out. We know exactly how they are using the 2026 Code of Conduct to muzzle the stars. We know that the Disrepute clause is just a tool for corporate greed, and we know that the people running the WTA are the real villains in this story. The era of the quiet leader like Steve Simon is over, but the toxic system he left behind is still in place. The new leadership is doubling down on the same failed tactics. They are hiding in their offices, sending out fines, and hoping the players will just give up. But they picked the wrong hero to mess with. Rybakina doesn't need their approval. She has her talent, and she has the truth. Every time she steps onto a bad court and calls it out, she is winning a much bigger match than anything on the scoreboard. She is fighting for the future of the sport. She is fighting for the right to be a human being instead of a corporate asset. The reality is that the WTA is crumbling from the inside. Their legal threats are a sign of weakness, not strength. They are terrified of what happens when the players truly realize their own power. If the top stars stand together against these gag orders, the WTA executives will have nowhere to hide. They can't suspend everyone. They can't fine the entire top 10. The system only works if the players are afraid. And thanks to heroes like Rybakina, the fear is fading. The documents have been read, the rules have been exposed, the calculated lies are falling apart. The industry is watching, and they see a villain in a desperate meltdown. The most necessary sentence in tennis is, "This is not safe." It's a simple fact. It shouldn't be a crime. It shouldn't be moral abuse. It shouldn't be disrepute. But in the 2026 WTA, the truth is the most dangerous thing you can say. We will continue to track every fine and every rule change because the players deserve a voice that isn't filtered through a corporate PR machine. The sport deserves more than polished slogans. It deserves a leadership that actually cares about the women on the court. Until that happens, the feud will only get louder. The villain's career is free-falling, and their legacy will be one of censorship and failure. The WTA executives thought they'd destroy Elena Rybakina, but they only destroyed themselves.